Congratulations on your work in this course and welcome to the final presentation of GA103. We will conclude our discussion about imagery and design and finding a position in the design industry.
The first part of our lecture will look at imagery in design. The objectives of this section are to gain an understanding of the differences between symbols, logos, and representational and informational imagery. Appreciate the differences between photographs and illustrations. Understand how iconographic symbols differ from other types of imagery. Understand how logos are designed and how they function to identify brands. Examine ways in which identity and wayfinding systems are developed and develop a knowledge of the basic types of charts and graphs. When looking at photography and design, we realize that photographs are regarded as the most credible type of imagery. While you also have illustration as a form of imagery for design, but photography is considered the most credible. The Got Milk ad campaigns utilize imagery of celebrities to endorse their products, as celebrities often catch the viewer's attention. In this example, the realism of photography helps us believe the cool sweetness of ice cream. Photographs are often used to help the viewers envision themselves in a specific situation. In this ad, we can envision ourselves pushing the limits of our bodies and believing in the run. When working with photography, we realize that cropping can improve a mediocre photograph. It can isolate or focus attention onto a certain area. It can also change how the photograph's subject matter is. We can do this by zooming in on the best part. We see here the photograph is cropped to focus on a specific area of the image, particularly the birds. We can see here that focusing on the two children on the left side, the dynamic of the image changes. Cropping is always a great option for creating dramatic impact. Photographs can also be outlined or removed from their background to serve as elements in a larger composition. This can be accomplished in programs like Photoshop. You can then compile the image in Photoshop or programs like Illustrator or InDesign. However, it is very important that the compositions look professional and seamless, so make sure your editing skills are up to par. We will now look at illustration as imagery in design. Illustration offers a chance to interject expression into a realistic scene. It can add a truly original element to a design and bring a level of energy that photography cannot. Often, photography mixed with illustration works very well and shows an original approach. There are many illustration mediums. These include scratchboard, like seen here. Scratchboard is a technique where drawings are created using sharp knives and tools for etching into a thin layer of white china clay that is coated with black India ink, or you can use a cardboard coated with gesso, and then with a dark color such as India ink. The drawing is then done by scratching into the dark surface to expose the white board. This will give the look of a wood engraving. There are various tools that can be used to do the scratching. Charcoal is another alternative and can be very expressive. However, whatever method you choose, it is important that it fits well with the subject matter, purpose of the design, and will work well with your target audience. With programs like Illustrator, digital illustration is becoming more and more popular. However, it is important that the technique does not become overused. While the option of live trace is very appealing in Illustrator, it has become very predictable and overused in recent years as an illustration method. There are many great sources for imagery. One of them is scanning found objects. Often these objects need to be digitally manipulated, but it can be a very original source for imagery. Uncredited art can be used without copyright infringement 95 years after its date of publication. You can find many sources of uncredited art on the internet. They are very useful because they are copyright free and can bring a unique quality to the design. When working with symbols and logos, graphically reducing images to their simplest form is an easy way to create original art. Often the image is either recreated by hand or, depending on the quality of the image, can be done with a program like Illustrator. See the video listed under this week's lectures for a live trace demo. Graphically reducing a grayscale image requires editing it down to its essential attributes. Here we have a simple key. We now see the key reduced to a simple image form. In this graphic reduction, the contours of the image will reduce to black and white. When looking at logos and trademarks, a logo can be a combination of mark and logo type. A mark is a simple symbol within the design, and logo type is the actual typography of the logo. These are famous examples of logotype designs. In a logotype, the primary focus is on the typography of the design. This combination of mark and logotype often allows for flexibility in the development of a corporate identity. We also often see logos meld iconography with typography like the example here. The addition of the martini glass icon lets us know something about the business. Logo elements also often inspire a graphic vocabulary that can be flexibly applied to many components. In this example, we are looking at the Salt Lake Olympic logo from 2000. In a brand campaign, we see the logo or trademarks applied to many different mediums such as banners. We also see it applied to uniforms. Maintaining consistency across the brand is critical to the success of that brand. Companies will often create graphic standards manuals to ensure consistent application of a corporate identity. These consist of a set of examples that will show the proper usage of the brand from colors to typography and layout. They can also include examples of signage and ways that the brand may not be used. You can find many examples by Googling graphic standard manuals. We also see corporate identities applied to stationery systems and business cards. This is part of maintaining the consistency of the brand. Colors and type must be the same across all mediums or the brand becomes disconnected and can fail. We will now quickly review symbols and wayfinding systems. Symbols are an important feature of wayfinding systems, where they guide us in unfamiliar territory. We often see wayfinding systems in amusement parks, zoos, public parks, places for transportation, etc. They simplify the information in a way that can transcend age and language barriers and present the information in a way that is easy to understand. This wayfinding system is found in a parking garage structure. It is useful and graphically unique. This is a more traditional wayfinding system found in Portland. We also see charts and graphs as an option for imagery. Charts and graphs help us visualize data in a more vivid and visually dynamic way. They break it down in a way that makes it easy to understand and quickly digest. I will now summarize all we just covered. We looked at how representational imagery can enhance a message and help draw attention to content. The use of photographs when recognition, documentation, and accuracy are important. The illustration offers a range of looks and media possibilities and can lend expressiveness to representational imagery. How graphically reduced images are rendered in the simplest possible way and work well as universal symbols and logos. We also looked at how logos serve as visual schemes of coordinated color typography and graphic elements that serve as the basis for an identity system. How an identity system can be applied to stationery, product packaging, signage, and other situations where a company's name is displayed. How symbols and visual themes are also used in environmental graphics and wayfinding systems. And how charts and graphs help make statistics visually engaging.